I'm asking the Department of Justice to investigate if our police department has engaged in a pattern or practice of stops, searches, or arrests that violate the Fourth Amendment. At the end of this process, I will hold those accountable if change is not made.
That was Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake today, calling on the Department of Justice to investigate the entire Baltimore Police Department in the wake of 6 officers being charged in the death of Freddie Gray. The mayor now calling for the same kind of investigation we've seen in places like Ferguson, where major problems were found in the department there, but the officer who sparked the investigation was cleared of all charges. Mark Thiessen is a Fox News contributor, former chief presidential speechwriter for President George W. Bush. Mark, so this is the mayor. She's African-American. Her police commissioner is African-American. Her police department is majority minority, and yet she wants the DOJ to come in and to sniff out discriminatory policing that her department may be guilty of.
Yeah, and not only that, half the officers accused in this crime are African-American. Are they racists? I mean, this, even the crime that she's specifically talking about that's supposedly sparked this investigation has nothing to do with race. Look, the problem in Baltimore is not racism. The problem in Baltimore is liberalism. Baltimore is a disaster because it has had 5 decades of uninterrupted Democratic rule. The last time there was a Republican mayor of Baltimore was in 1967, which is the year I was born. Long time ago. That is a long time ago. There were longer every year. There have been only 2 Republican governors since Spiro Agnew in 1969, and one of them just took office. This is a deep blue city in a deep blue state. The mayor's a Democrat. The city council is run by Democrats. The school board is run by Democrats. So if there's a problem in Baltimore, the Democrats built that.
I know that you talked about in your column this week how the New York Times had a report studying the nation's 100 largest counties, and the one where children face the worst odds of escaping poverty is the city of Baltimore. So do you think that this mayor and other officials there are scapegoating the cops to write off long existing problems in this town?
That's exactly right. The mayor is trying to distract from the real problem, which is that their policies have failed to improve the lives of people in Baltimore generally and particularly in the Sandtown neighborhood. So think about this. Since the war on poverty was started in the 1960s, the poverty rate in America today is 14.5%. That's virtually unchanged since the 1960s. In Baltimore, it's 24% and 35% for children. African-American young men have an unemployment rate in Baltimore of 37%. To put that in perspective for you, the national unemployment rate during the Great Depression was 23%. So in Baltimore, it would be progress to get to the employment levels of the Great Depression. This is a town where nobody has a chance to get out. Nobody has a chance to improve their lives. No one has a chance to earn their success. They're trapped in cycles of poverty because of the policies of Democratic rule for 5 decades.
And so the police, they may make, they may be found guilty in this case, but they as a group are now being served up on a silver platter to the DOJ as the fall guys.
They may have, we don't know whether they'll be guilty or not, whether they did something wrong or not, but it's not systemic racism. They are trying to distract from the real problem. This is a town where people don't have a chance to improve their lives. For example, the Democratic policy is basically throw money at problems. That's what Baltimore has been doing for years. The Washington Post reported they spent $130 million on Sandtown, no progress whatsoever. So Baltimore, the education system, they've third highest per pupil spending. 55% of kids in the 4th grade can't read at basic level. That's what happens when you throw money at problems.
Unbelievable. Mark, thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Got some breaking news coming in right now. Live pictures here of a frightening scene over Norman, Oklahoma. Look at these pictures. Very ominous. Massive storms are rolling through. Look at this. Twisters have already caused damage in parts of Kansas earlier tonight. This system is right now headed toward the town of Moore, Oklahoma, where a deadly twister devastated the community just 2 years ago. We're watching this. We'll go back as warranted. Plus, up next, Ben Carson, just over 48 hours now into his campaign, announcing right as an ugly new debate over free speech breaks out, following an attempted terror attack, the one we discussed at the top of the show. He is here live in his first TV interview since announcing his candidacy for the presidency. Don't miss Dr. Carson, next.
Thank you. Thank you.